my name is Madeleine Parker. Welcome to my channel, The House of Spirit. This read is going to be for Gemini. And like I say, I like to think my reads pertain to whatever planet you hold in that sign, whatever house it covers, your sun and your moon, but most importantly for your ascendant, because I line up the planets to your ascendant. The ascendant. But I find these reads applicable to my other planets too, so it's worth a watch if you are curious, for instance, about your Jupiter. All right, so we are going to do Gemini, this yellow bar right here. I just want to quickly say, if you'd like a private read, my email address is below. And yeah, all right. So this is going to be for February 2020. And we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on astrologically for the month of February. Well, we do have that Mercury retrograde. We have Mercury going into Pisces on the 1st, or actually, I'm sorry, Mercury goes into Pisces on the 3rd of February. I don't know when it goes retrograde though. And then Venus goes into Aries on the 7th, moves into Aries, and then Mars moves into Capricorn on the 18th. So we have quite a few interesting transits going on. And for you guys, first Gemini, let's start out with the Sun in your 9th house right now. Maybe you guys are traveling, or you're teaching or writing. But because it isn't an air sign, it's very possible you're writing and doing a lot of possibly philosophizing and spiritual writing, or but then it is going to move into the sign of Pisces, moving the Sun into your 10th house in the mid-month or at the end of the month, highlighting work. But Piscean energies, you might be going inward about work. I don't know, channeling something higher for work. And then Mercury currently is in Aquarius in your 9th house. Again, you're probably communicating a lot, or writing, teaching. 1st house, Aquarius, in front of lots of people. You might be, if you're Gemini, you might be finding yourself amongst large groups of people with the Sun in Aquarius and Mercury in Aquarius, communicating. That's going to go into the 12th house, moving Mercury into your 10th house. So writing, communication around work, or teaching, or writing about exploratory travel. Now we've got Venus in your 1st house. Venus right now is in your 10th house. In February, you're going to start out with Venus in your 10th house in the sign of Pisces. Possibly work-related relationships involving communication, possibly expanding work with divine partners, purpose, a divine purpose with partner, career-wise, that expands your career. So what else? We have Mars in the 7th house currently, expanding energies in relationships, close personal, so possibly contracts in work start kind of expanding here, and then that moves into your 8th house. So perhaps a death and rebirth in your way of work, because it's moving into Capricorn. Jupiter is in your 8th house, going through death and rebirth around, it's in the sign of Capricorn, around work, maybe releasing fears around work and taking on more spiritual qualities. We get Uranus in your 12th house, again expanding your spiritual beliefs around your career, breaking through a death and rebirth. You have Pluto in your 8th house. Wow, so you really are going through some kind of Plutonic death and rebirth in the form of deep soul transformation, which is in Capricorn, so career and status, and it looks like you're shifting to a higher operating way of working in your Capricorn energies. So like more in the light, everybody's becoming more enlightened. And then your career and finances are going to be in some sort of a change form, because your North Node is in the 2nd house in Cancer. So possibly shifting to making money via home ways, expanding your finances around properties. All right, Gemini, So let's have a look and see what what the cards want to say for Gemini for 2020 in the month of February. Close this. That Mars in Capricorn is pretty strong for you guys in the... That Mars in Capricorn, it's going to go into your 8th house. Interesting. Let's see how that appears in the read. For Gemini, call in highest guides and angels to be with us in this read so that we may help Gemini know their highest best destiny, highest best version of themselves, and we invite their highest guides and angels. I hope I said that. Thank you for being with us. Gemini, I'm going to cut the deck into 2. You guys are twins. It's the Lover's card in the deck. The Mercurial energy, Sword energy. Ooh, that's a good spot to hit that. Okay, wow, we do have some strong cards, guys, but that's... Wow. That doesn't mean bad, of course. It's just change. And things are really changing. And you do have all those 8th house planets, so this doesn't surprise me. So, let's take a look. Where did I put my pen? All right. Letting go. Boy, letting go. Gotta take these planets out to see what's going on here. Well, this is the belief system. You know, we've got these 9th house placements, which is around teaching or belief. So we really are getting a shift in a way of thinking, of believing in a sense, letting go of thinking that they are lacking, which was how the Gemini were thrown out of alignment with what their heart really desired. And they are making really rapid shifts in their lives, big changes going on in the lives for Gemini, restoring to the heart and a higher desire and quitting everything else. Wow, I'm really impressed with this crazy read as far as it creating a really big shift. That must be those planets in the 8th house with Capricorn. And Pluto in Capricorn for you guys is in the 8th house. That's a challenging thing. So, and that's been going on, I don't know how long for, but it's been a drawn-out period. But we are at the apex of it, and I think we're coming out of it. And so what's happening is a complete and utter transformation to living a non-fulfilling life, and and the negativity, the thinking, the negative thinking that motivating from heart and love. There's this a total transformation, understanding. They know now what new beginning they want to do, and it's got to be from the heart or nothing else. Anything else is a burden. They've tempered out a fear. They've ended a fear that prevented them from operating from out of alignment or out of alignment people, or being with people that are out of alignment, or being in romantic relationships that are out of alignment for them, that are not true love or that are not pure, the reigniting love. There is a real sense of, now, you know, I want to see if this is a relationship thing. What did I say was in the 7th house? You have Mars in your 7th house. Wow. So I'm saying Mars currently is in Sagittarius in the 7th house at the beginning of the month. So the Sagittarius in Mars and Venus being in Pisces is going to make Gemini pretty assertive about, that's an assertive energy, Mars in Sagittarius. So basically Gemini are making a really big shift. I mean, look at all the cups in the read. Cups, 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 everything else, another cup, towering to the unhappiness, quitting anything that is emotionally unstabilizing. They want emotional stability. Then we get another feminine, Pentacle feminine, quitting feminines. I would say quitting, Queen of Swords, maybe perhaps not going for feminines that are superficial. And I'm thinking of a Gemini I know who this really applies to. He does tend to go, in fact, we had the conversation one day that he was very much aware of the fact that he went for superficial choices in women, and that this read pretty much says there's a knowing now that this creates an emptiness, that it's empty. The burden now, it's they're willing to take on the burden to do something they love. The Gemini are in action mode. And even if this isn't necessarily a romantic read, if you're a Gemini and you're already in a relationship, you're upgrading the importance of operating in general, in everything in life, from a place of emotional purity and emotional fulfillment. And you're not willing to emotionally out of line. Now this is the you're not willing, you ending the thinking, that realizing that you were living in a deceptive way. You're quitting deceptive ideas based in lack, based in negativity that pulled you out of alignment, thoughts that were deceptive. You're in a lightning joy, you want to raise your vibrations, you're having fun, or it's possibly you had other third parties in a relationship if this is a twin flame read. But basically, Gemini are at a place where they are leaving concerns, mental concerns. I want to say what people think of them, but there's nothing going on in your 11th house. But there is definitely a metamorphosis happening for you guys, and a complete and utter shift and change in your life. But look what's towering is depression, quitting depression, sadness, emptiness, towering, the burden it is to be out of alignment from what is true, from what you truly highly want, your highest attainment, which may not be a woman of status, or may not be, if this is you, Gemini, it may be that you don't need to be a woman of status anymore. You don't need to look like you have all the bells and whistles, or that you're wealthy, or that you're, let's say, you're not so concerned about your image. You in fact, you're quitting that because it only attracted you into situations that were emotionally unfulfilling. You kind of are ready to release deceptivity, or trying to put on airs, or trying to be something you're not, which was all based in lack mentality. So this man I'm thinking of he's realizing he's going for superficial qualities in women so that he appears more. It's a deceptive thing, for deceptive reasons, or not, that aren't really based in love, that aren't based in heart. That thinking is realizing it's lack mentality, low self-esteem thinking. Big transformation here, Gemini. Let's see. Oh, I got this wonderful moon deck. I'm so excited about it. But this is, it's funny when you see cards like this and you think, oh my gosh, this looks like a dark read. And it's actually quite the opposite. It's really about ending the sadness and the burdensome and the weight. Boom, done with that. Like ready to really ignite. I hope this are all in. I didn't check, but ready to ignite a new life, ready for change, completely ready for change. And Gemini have a hard time making decisions. Well, that's what sort of the standard, shall we say, thing said about Gemini, and I do have a lot of Gemini in my life, and I guess maybe it's true, but in this read it feels that it's not true. That meditate and contemplate the new moon in Pisces. Didn't we just say we had Venus in Pisces? So that's a very meditative Neptunian, out in the ether energy, sort of in 5D, and so that's sort of interesting. I don't know what to say about that. Let's pull one more. We have a new moon coming up in, actually today or tomorrow, in Aquarius. Time for healing. Okay, so have faith in your dreams. So I'm going to say for Gemini, we've got some, I want to see what planets you have in the 12th house. I guess Venus is going to go into your 11th house. But Venus is currently in Pisces, so perhaps we are in a new moon, and we are Venus in Pisces. So, and we are talking about love. So we are talking about possibly Gemini going more spiritual, more ethereal, more soulmate connected love, and ready to heal, because this time for healing, balsamic moon, hits right on top of these cards, which indicate really releasing that low self-esteem, low self-worth that prevented the Gemini from making choices that were emotionally fulfilling, or putting them in relationships with people for superficial sort of glamorous potentially, or even within yourself, or trying to have a sort of certain image, or how to create, and realizing that there's a layer of lack mentality, or belief in lack, that is in the root. All right, Gemini, I hope this read was helpful for you. Thank you for watching. Namaste.